Hello and welcome to a look at the new mode, Gun Master. Now DICE have said this is a very early build, it's a CTE prototype, and in fact they've called it an alpha build. So what effectively you've got is Gun Master on the TDM setup. It's running as a 10v10 mode, and in fact it's so TDM that it's still got the battle pickups on the maps. Now what you're watching is the pistol only version of Gun Master. This is probably the most balanced version of Gun Master there is at the moment. You have a list of 18 pistols you have to progress through. You progress through the list by getting 2 kills with each pistol. When you get those 2 kills, you swap over to the next pistol. Unfortunately, it does mean that you're pretty vulnerable while you're swapping over pistols, but that is part of Gun Master. Now the biggest problem with Gun Master as it sits at the moment are the maps. TDM maps just aren't designed for Gun Master, they're far too open, and 10 players aside just isn't enough on a map of this size. When Gun Master was on Battlefield 3, it was on the close quarters maps. They were designed for close quarter combat, and the TDM maps, although small, just don't really balance out that well. So while the gun versus gun gameplay is actually a lot of fun, and the mechanics of the Gun Master mode seem to be working really well, it is let down by the maps. But as they say, this is an alpha build. Decrease the size of the maps a bit, or maybe increase it to 16 players, and this mode is going to work really well. Now here we've transferred over to footage of the full version of Gun Master. There are actually 2 different versions of this full version of Gun Master. So you've got Standard and Classic, and each of those versions has a different gun list. What you're seeing on the screen is Classic mode, and the gun list for Classic mode is MP443, 93R, Magnum, MP7, P90, Spaz 12, USAS 12, ACWR, MTAR, AUG 3, SAR 21, LSAT, L86A2, SCAR H, Jing 90, M320 LVG, and then the knife. The gun list for standard mode is P226, G18, Unica 6, A91, AS-VAL, M4, UMP 45, 870, QBZ 95-1, Sega 12K, M249, QBU 88, AN94, M60, L96A1, the Deagle, and then the bayonet. So overall both lists are pretty good. I think most people could probably live without the USAS 12 and the M320 LVG being on the lists, but it's the classic mode and they used to be on the lists, so they're there. For a very early pass at the mode, this is a great result. The actual gameplay mechanics work fine, the gun choice is pretty good. It's got a few little issues that need looking at. The spawns are sometimes a bit odd. You can spawn pretty much on top of an enemy player. There's a few messages on the screen that could do with changing. The bar that shows you your progress and everybody else's progress is a bit small, and you still get messages saying assist counts as a kill when in this mode they don't. So in this early build all we can judge it on is its gameplay, and the mode is a lot of fun. Now some people say that Gun Master doesn't really belong in a Battlefield game, and to be honest, if they were selling it as one of the game's standout modes, then I'd say yes, it shouldn't be in there. But it's just a free giveaway at the end of Battlefield 4's life. A lot of the in-engine work was already done in Battlefield 3, so all they've had to do is transfer it over to Battlefield 4. True, somebody's going to have to work on the maps, but it isn't going to necessarily take a lot of work. If you take Flood Zone for example here, if you cut the map in half, so this side of the map that we're on now was the play area, the other side they took away the bridges, blocked up the doors, then it would work fine. You'd have the top layer, you'd have the back corridor, and you'd have the underneath layer. That's enough area to actually play Gun Master on. Now Tigger has said that this mode is going to launch on all the basic maps, and it's going to be free to everyone. You don't need to be a premium member because it's going to be on the basic maps, and there are going to be no requirements to play it other than owning Battlefield 4. And it's the same story for the new guns. They're going to be available to everyone as well. And the new guns is what I'm going to look at in the next video. I'm going to go through all 5 guns pretty briefly and see what they're like. There's no point doing an in-depth look into Gun Master or the new guns because they're the very first release. There's going to be changes, there's going to be balances. Only one of the guns actually has a skin on the CTE servers. The others are pure white with accessories on them. They look a bit odd. But I'll be able to do recoil tests and give you an idea of how they shoot. And the results will probably be out on Friday. Not sure if it's going to be one video for all the guns or a separate video for each gun. Depends on just how quirky and unusual they are and how much I have to say about each one. Until then, that's the end of this brief introduction to Gun Master on the CTE servers. Thanks for watching.